Configuring the Amazon command line interface, today on PartlyCloudy.tv. The first step to configure the AWS command line interface is to install it on the computer that you will be using it from. Amazon has downloads available for Windows, Linux, and Mac, but if you're using an EC2 instance that's been created with the Amazon Linux AMI, the command line utilities are already installed on the instance. Simply follow the instructions provided by Amazon to install the utility for your operating system of choice, and you're going to be ready to configure it. So prior to configuring the CLI, you're going to need to ensure that you have an access key and a secret access key for the user that's going to be issuing the commands from the command line. These keys can be generated from the Identity and Access Management tool located inside of the AWS console. It's important to note that when you generate an access key and secret access key for the first time, you must download the keys and keep them stored in a safe place. It's not possible to retrieve the keys after they've been initially created. So if you lose the keys, you have to deactivate them and then create new ones to use. So let's go to our user. In this case, we're going to select User Mark and go to Security Credentials. And you're going to notice that there are no access keys to use. So I'm going to click on Create Access Key. Now it's going to generate our access key. No need to worry here. I'm going to delete these keys as soon as this video is done. So no matter who sees this key, it's not going to really matter here. But again, you're only going to see these keys right now. You do have the ability to download these keys as a comma delimited file, but in this case, we're just going to be copying and pasting, so seeing them on the screen is going to be just fine. So in this case, I'm going to click Show to reveal our secret access key. And now I'm going to go over to the AWS command line. Now I know I'm going to need my access key here shortly, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. And now I'm going to go to the command prompt. So in order to configure the command line, all we have to do is issue the AWS configure command. You're going to be prompted for your access key, so we're going to go ahead and paste that in. Now we need our secret access key. So in this case, once again, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to my window and paste it. Then you're going to be prompted for a default region, and then next, a default output style. In this case, these are optional. However, this is going to really simplify you using the AWS command line because you're not going to have to enter these every time you issue a command. So in this case, I want to make sure that I'm using US East 1 as my default region. And for my default output format, I'm going to use JSON. Now, once we click enter, we've got our AWS command line is now configured and ready to use. So we could actually issue a command now, but one other way to check to verify that the configuration information was saved properly is we can examine the files that were created by the configuration utility. These files by default are going to be saved in a hidden directory called .aws in the home folder of your machine in either Windows, Linux, or Mac. Your access credentials are going to be stored in a text file called credentials, and your configuration information is going to be stored in a file called config. So we can go and view inside of the AWS directory. We can now see that we have two files. We can view our credentials file, and we can view our configuration file. Later on, if you needed to change your access keys or you wanted to change this information, you have two options. You can either run the AWS configure command again, or you can edit these files and edit the configuration information directly. And that's all there is to it. Your AWS command line utilities are now installed and configured. Until next time.